the magic of the Cybernet Space Cube, the computer-enhanced podcast of the future. Transformers Slag Podcast. What's up, everyone? How we all doing? This Saturday night. It's Free Comic Book Day, too, which we'll get into in a moment. It's a Transformers Slag Podcast on our live stream main event. Your host, Protoman, the face that runs this place. I'm the voice you hear Monday to Friday, and it is Saturday. It is May 2nd. It is Free Comic Book Day. We're going to talk the news, Transformers. We're going to update some stuff on the news. We'll take some questions from the fans today on this beautiful day. We'll talk about some stuff that we picked up on Free Comic Book Day. Even some weird stuff that we got outside of kind of the Free Comic Book Day ecosystem. We went to some little Asian supermarket and had some cool little things that we picked up. You'll see soon enough. But how we doing? Hope everyone had a really good Free Comic Book Day. Support the local comic book stores. Pick up some free books, but also get one or two stuff. I hit up like 3 stores every single time. And those 3 stores, I always pick up a couple books, but also buy a bunch of stuff to put back into the community. And there's always great stuff. Volume is low. Is it low? I don't know. Sometimes it's low. Sometimes it's high. I don't know. Let's put it higher. How is that? Is that a little better? I don't know. I kind of came back a little later than usual, for obvious reasons. So I didn't have a lot of time to fix and set up everything. So I hope everything is okay, more or less. But yeah, so we'll get into the news. We'll take care of that, and then we'll talk some free comic books and some cool stuff and everything. I guess maybe it was one of the settings I messed with. Who knows? Let's get into it. Little things here and there. We're going to start first with this interesting one found in the Philippines at a Toys R Us in the Philippines. They still have Toys R Us there. Even Toys R Us in Canada is slowly dying on the vine, unfortunately, but still kicking in the Philippines. Oh, by the way, I didn't even really go through the chat. Who is here? So we got Star Warrior. We got Ninjatron. How you doing, Ninjatron? I wonder how your Free Comic Book Day was. Will Murphy, what's up, my man? Fawn Hart. T-Formers 2002, I'll be seeing you soon. Cringe McCringle, I'll also be seeing soon. Cringe put out a new video on his YouTube channel recently about Bumblebee. Go check that out. The Twins Corner, I'll be seeing you soon. Navio, how you doing? Rudy Mack, I'll also be seeing you soon. A lot of people from the con circuit in the chat today. Good to see everybody. Hope you all were having a really good Free Comic Book Day. In my opinion, one of the most fun days out of the whole year. Young, how you doing? Young was at the Gundam TCG tournament yesterday at the Gunpla store. Shout out to Operation V. How are they doing over there? Would have loved to be there, but again, this weekend was a little stacked, a little busy for my industry, so had to kind of take care of that. But yeah, James, how you doing? MCD, McD. So, we have this Filipino exclusive, at least for the time being. I haven't seen any other reports anywhere that this has showed up, although if they have, I'd like to know where, because I'm kind of interested in this just a little bit. This comes from NQD, which is a licensing uh, company that does a lot of like just low cost kind of toys and everything, and they do a lot of stuff with Hasbro, a lot of die-cast stuff. They'll just take die-cast cars, license the Hasbro Transformers, IP, and then turn those die-cast cars into Transformer characters. Like just put, control art of RC on it or anything like that. And so they had this generic truck that has LED lights and sounds and opens up and makes a play set. And they're like, hey, why don't we put some of our 1/64 scale die-cast cars that are pullbacks, put some Transformers on them, make this an Optimus Prime looking thing, and you got probably the best display you could have for your Hot Wheels and or Blockies wheels Transformers. Again, I kind of dig it. It transforms. I'm a sucker for play sets. My kryptonite is micro playsets. I grew up with micro machines, so I kind of always like this stuff. Granted, this is larger than the micro playsets. This is, of course, the 1/64 scale Hot Wheels kind of stuff, or Matchbox or Blockies, but I still think it's pretty cool. I don't know about a price on this because this was in Filipino pesos and I never got the full answer. But if it does show up somewhere else, what's up, Horned Owl? If it does show up somewhere else, let me know. Let me know. I'm kind of curious what the MSRP is for the US of A and Canada, and if it's showing up anywhere else outside of a Filipino Toys R Us. So very interesting, very very cool. And we got this oddity, another bizarre one, licensed again Hasbro item from LDCX. They're a again, blind box is kind of what they really deal with more than anything. They do a lot of blind box stuff. Really, ever since what Pop Market has done with Labubu, all the other Chinese companies are trying to get in on this. And we got some blind box stuff here. This is the LDCX Suction Cup Transformers. They kind of remind me of Stick Fuzz or Stickmen that had like the suction cups. Fun fact, the co-creator of Transformers alternators, uh, Steve Bono, kind of was like the creator of Stick Fuzz and Stickmen and the suction cup kind of thing. So this is kind of in his world in a lot of ways. It's kind of a fusion of the two. And we got, it's using authentic slash G1 kind of styling. It's nice to see like a jazz or a side swipe figure. They're articulated. They have suction cups. You could get like a side swipe and then like put them in your window of your car or in the window of your house. What's up, Larry? Hope you had a good free comic book day today. You weren't too busy at the worksies. So you have Optimus, you got Megatron, you got Bumblebee, you got Starscream, you got Soundwave. You got some of the legendary seven there, as good old John Warden would say. But then you got, oh, okay, there's Sideswipe. That's a little different, Ironhide. Okay, why not? And Jazz, it's nice to see stuff of him. So that's pretty cool. From what it looks like, they're one per case and there's 8. So, like, if you buy a case, you're guaranteed a full set. It does not look like there's chases. And we don't have prices for these, but these are usually like between, $2 and $5, give or take. If you're paying more than that, you're probably paying an import fee, if anything. And yeah, so these are apparently available right now because I saw on Weibo, the Chinese message boards, I saw one guy already cracking open a case of them and confirming that you do get one of each in a case and there's no chases, at least that we know of. Maybe you got an unlucky case. I don't know. But so very cool. Again, the side swipe kind of speaks to me, and I'm sure Jaws D would dig a jazz in his car window. Mm, sorry, I need some water. It's been a long day. But yeah, very cool. Very cool. Nice little items. I like to always talk about these because you never know. There's a jazz completist out there. There's a sideswipe stan that's like, oh, I gotta get me a sideswipe. That could hang in my car window next to my Garfield. So very cool. Very, very cool. I love me some Mighty Max too, Big Bot. Then we got this guy that dropped what was it, 2 days ago, 1 day ago. So we got the Lego Brickheads Transformers, the Megatron with vehicle mode, 244 pieces, 24.99. So it went up $5 from the original price that these guys were last year with the Optimus and the Bumblebee. But the biggest talk of it all is the tank. Look at that tank. What is going on? I love someone mentioned that it looked like Metal Slug, and I was like, yeah, man, it does look like something from Neo Geo's Metal Slug. But then it's got like the eyes on the front. What a weird looking thing. But again, I forget who said it, but there was someone in the community that was like, there's a strong possibility that all these parts that make the tank, I'm pretty sure some fan is going to figure out to take those parts and turn it into a gun. And like, just that's the whole point of Lego is make your own stuff, rearrange things. So I'm very curious to see what the audience is going to do with the pieces that make the tank. And maybe they could figure out a gun mode that we could have on display. It doesn't have to be officially sanctioned by Lego on the box or in the instructions, but let the creativity of the Legoites, I guess we'll call them that. We'll call them the Legoites. Master builders, I don't know. We'll call them Legoites. The Legoites will let us know what's going on here. But yeah, So again, 24.99, so $5 up from the original MSRP that B and Optimus were. And this was the Megatron listing that we had. Like it matches up with the code and everything. So I guess we're not getting a Lego Icons Megatron yet. I guess this is what they're going to go with. And we'll see what happens in the future for the next one. I still stand by it. The next one should be Grimlock. Like, it's dinosaurs. Lego has all this experience already with doing like buildable dinosaur stuff. It's Grimlock. You can't go any more higher in terms of like availability of publicly known characters within the mainstream audience, with the exception of like Starscream at this point. Megatron, Starscream, again, Legendary 7. Devastator is the only other one that falls in that, but we ain't doing a Devastator anytime soon. Although something we might talk about later this week might suggest otherwise, but we'll see that Monday. We'll get a little more info and photography. We'll see. We'll see. But yeah, let's uh let's just hope that this is something that's an indication of more to come, because I would like to see more, you know, interesting character. Obviously, I probably Soundwave's going to be next. It'll probably be like Soundwave, tape cassette mode, and maybe a little Ravage or something, and people will eat that up. But this is coming out June 1st. So if you go to your local Lego stores, this will be available June 1st. There's going to be, if you're part of the Club Lego or whatever, they're going to do a launch event the day before, May 29th or 30th, so you could pick it up early. But otherwise, June 1st, this will be available at Lego stores all over North America and Europe. So check that out. Very, very cool. Yeah. And then some sad news in the world today. I didn't have a good spot where to put it during the week. And I always find like I like to prefer to just kind of do it on the live stream, because it's a little more personal as opposed to just my voice and a still image. We have two people that passed away in the Transformer community and in the comic book community today, one after another, unfortunately. April 26th, we lost Jerry Conway at the age of 73 due to pancreatic cancer that he's been battling over the past couple of years. Jerry Conway, I mean, in our Transformer world, him and his wife wrote two season 3 G1 episodes. Interestingly enough, both of them that involved like relationships. One of them was Forever is a Long Time Coming, and we're introduced to A3. He created A3, so in a lot of ways, he created the prototype to what would be Alpha Trion. He created A3 and he created Beta, and it looks like they kind of had something going on. So maybe that's Carla's writing, maybe that's Jerry's writing. So you had that, and Forever's a Long Time Coming, and then you had Money Is Everything with good old scoundrel himself, Dirkus and Marissa Fairborn. So there's also a little something going on there. That's a good Computron episode if you like them. So he was the writer for both of those along with his wife, and of course, but outside of Transformers, much more better known for the creator of Punisher. He had an insanely amazing run on Spider-Man, where he created Punisher. He created Scarlet Spider, aka Ben Riley. He was responsible for the death of Gwen Stacy, which he many times has said he got death threats for that. People were not happy about that when it happened, but now it's iconic. Co-creator of Miss Marvel, Carol Danvers' Miss Marvel stuff. He did the first two inaugural issues of that before afterwards Chris Claremont came on and kind of took the reins of the book. Just a legendary run. I mean, I am underselling just how much this human being did in the comic book industry. Those are just the ones that I personally, you know, associate with him along with Transformers. But he's done so much. There's so much stuff, especially on the DC side and everything. So such a shame to lose him, especially to pancreatic cancer. 73 is still young in my opinion. Still a lot of life to have, still a lot of creative stuff to do. And he was doing a lot of stuff literally up until 3 years ago. So who knows what if Jack Kirby, never put down the pencil till the day he died. So it's one of those things that these guys in the industry, they'll do it until they pass away. And so it's such a shame that once again the evils of cancer got to him first. And what a legendary run! What a legendary run of stuff. Just let alone just to do Transformer stuff is a dream, but just everything else that he did is also quite amazing. So very, very cool. But we also lost another individual, and this is someone that I could almost kind of relate to my world, and it has to do with comic adaptations of Capcom and video game properties. I do that now, but after Jerry Conway passed away, the following day, April 27th, we lost Len Straczynski. Now, a lot of people might not know Len's name, you know, on its own, but he was known for the creation of Jesse Quick. But most importantly, he was known for the very debatable run of the Street Fighter Malibu 3-issue series. He also did Speed Racer during the Now Comics days, which is something I personally loved, but a lot of people might not associate that with, with Len's work. But man, that Street Fighter run, I bought it brand new day one when that came out. I'll never forget seeing the advertisement for in EGM magazine and picking it up and going like, "Damn, like this is a hot mess of a book." Like it's like I love Street Fighter, but what's going on here? Like Sagat was cool in it. They did a good job with Sagat. The Balrog fight was also pretty gruesome. Then they killed off Ken. Spoiler on a 30-year-old book. Mm. But very controversial. Uh, but he ended up getting quite a notoriety for that 3-issue run before that book got canceled by Capcom. And but he's an example of, again, the earliest examples of comic adaptation. You're missing issue 2. Issue 2 is the worst one. Ninjatron. Thank God you missed issue 2. Issue 1's not bad. Issue 3 is comical because then they like, oh, well, we're getting canceled. Let's include the ferret in this. And Blanca was a psycho in that book. It was a hot mess. But again, you got to respect the people in the industry. And Len the Pen, as he was nicknamed from his friends, um, was a very cool dude. And again, I know him for Street Fighter, but I also know him for his legendary run on Speed Racer. He did a nice run on Speed Racer and stuff like that, and a bunch of other stuff too with Now Comics. Again, I'm underselling just how much he did. Like he did Hardware, he did Prime from the Ultraverse. Who else did he create? He created a bunch of stuff from that Malibu kind of thing. So a lot of great stuff from these individuals, and it's a shame. Him 71, he passed away. He had a lot of accruing illnesses over the course of his life, and he just had a sudden bout to the hospital, and unfortunately, that was that. So we'll also miss you, Len, Jerry, and Len. You know these creative dudes, man. You know, as someone that's in this industry now, it's like we all try to make our mark in some way or form, creative wise, and it's always sucks to see people that I read their books when I was a kid, pass away. So it's crazy stuff, man. It's crazy stuff. And that's it for news, more or less. Didn't want to end it too much on a downer, but I did want to kind of talk about those guys for a bit because they were important. They were important. I felt like doing individual segments on the podcast wouldn't do it justice. Wouldn't do it justice at all. So, where are we at here? So we're going to do some sponsorship reads, and then we're going to talk about Free Comic Book Day, what we got this week, because there's obviously some Transformer stuff with Free Comic Book Day and some other things too. Some cool stuff that we picked up, which I'm pretty sure you guys will dig. You'll probably want to go out, maybe even buy them too. But a lot of interesting stuff. A lot of interesting stuff. So let's get into the reads, because of course we got Symbiote Studios. We got San Diego Comic Con. That is not too far away, actually. So if you're going to be in the San Diego area, there's going to be a big exclusive from Symbiote. But on top of that, all the available plushes, you could go to symbiotestudios.com, pick up the official Transformer plushes, not some handmade weirdness from the artist alley, not some, you know, weird, low quality, one-on-one made stuff. This is legitimate licensed stuff made with minky fabrics, high quality stuff. Their t-shirts are cotton. They don't shrink. They don't have plastics in them. They're a perfect blend of what I like to call the silk screen, which is they don't like when you go to Walmart, touch one of those shirts, and you'll just feel like it's almost like they just printed something on top of it. This is in the fabric. It's in the fabric. I wash these shirts 100 times. It looks amazing. They're super high quality. You get what you pay for in life, and in a world of microplastics getting into your bloodstream and ruining your sperm count, giggity, you need to wear the good stuff, and that's Symbiote Studios. So you got their pillows, you got their plushes, you got their t-shirt brands, you got, of course, their new items that are available. We got Fawn Art says, have they restocked Laserbeak yet? Have it sold out again? I wouldn't be surprised. I know they restocked it when they came back on the Wednesday of TFCon LA. I do not know if it's sold out again. The Laserbeak is probably the most popular thing they've done thus far. With probably the Snarl G2 was also very popular for some wacky reason, but the Starscream, you got the Swoop that just came out to complete your Dinobots. I'm not aware of if the Laserbeak has sold out. If it has, they'll restock again. They're always like belting out. They have a very good pipeline from their factories and stuff, so they're able to kind of restock very quickly. But just some amazing stuff going on. Just some amazing stuff from Symbiote. Again, and they have their pony collection. They're going to be announcing a My Little Pony exclusive too and stuff for SDCC. So if you're into My Little Pony, stay tuned for that. You got their plushes, you got their pins, their Magic the Gathering pins, which I still have to pick those up. I keep forgetting to get them, but I want to pick those ones up too. A lot of good stuff. So again, check out symbiotestudios.com for all your plush pins and t-shirts of Hasbro brands. Whenever we have a sponsor read, it's got to be in our ecosystem. Not going to have any of that weird it was funny. I was actually talking to Cringe McCringle about this recently, where we get a lot of offers for weird kind of sponsorships, and they don't fill the vibe, you know. So, but Symbiote fills the vibe. And speaking of vibes, let's talk about the Toy Armada with Aaron Archer. Aaron's been busy on some secret projects recently, but we have a great episode talking about classics here. So go check that out. Me and Aaron talk about the creation and history of classics. If you have not checked it out yet, what is a good like hour and some 10 minutes or so of talking about the beauty that is classics and all of their originals and how Megatron was able to be a gun and what's the story with Bumblebee being that weird kind of alt mode before we got that as a standard. Just fun stuff there. So check that out, the Toy Armada with Aaron Archer. If you enjoy watching us here on the Transformer Slag podcast and you want to get some more long form content of me yapping, how about me yapping with someone that's way more talented than me in that of Aaron Archer, one of the main men of the Transformers world. So go check out the Toy Armada with Aaron Archer here on YouTube. How you doing? And of course, Aaron has all his Posca paintings. Go check those ones out. There's Shia. There's Josh Jamel with the paintings too. Look how happy they are. So there's a few left on the website. Aaron's been really busy, so he hasn't really made any new ones yet, but there is some still available. So again, archermonster.com/shop. You can also pick up an art book, all kinds of stuff like that. Just a lot of stuff going on behind the scenes. SDCC is coming quick, so stay tuned for that one. But yeah, the Toy Armada with Aaron Archer, archermonster.com. Pick up some Posca paintings, one of one art. A lot of good stuff there. A lot of good stuff. Now then, let's talk Free Comic Book Day. Let's talk about what we got with Free Comic Book Day and what we'll have moving forward after Free Comic Book Day. So, for anyone this Saturday, today they were at Free Comic Book Day. Hope you got yourself some nice books. This is just a small smattering. And there was this dummy's book right here was one of the featured books of the 25 that were available. Although, of course, when you went to your store, sometimes they had some extras of other stuff, which I'll show with what I got because I also got some free books that were not from the advertised. But of course, if you went there, this was my book that was available, and now you guys got to enjoy the awesomeness of it. Horned Owl, my two shops were shorted on the free Mega Man comic. Well, I mean, what happens is that we shipped out, gosh, like 150,000 units. It was crazy. It was a lot. And some stores, they only get 25. And the sad thing is Free Comic Book Day, those stores usually get more than 25 people. So there's only so much. I know that one store that I went to, because I go to 3 shops, shout out to Cosmic, shout out to Mark, and shout out to Crossover Comics. And I know by the time I got the crossover comics, everything was gone. All the Mega Man books. So they still had the Street Fighter book, but they had none of the Mega Man books left. So, and again, when you have like this, forget that I wrote it, just, this cool cover, Mega Man base. Oh, it's a battle shonen in anime style, kind of book. Here, let's show some awesomeness, bam, like, oh, grab him, throw him through the trees, you know, just big, crazy battle story in the spirit of Akira Toriyama. Just, just two robots beating the hell out of each other. That's what I wanted. 20 pages of two robots just kicking the crap out of each other and just having a good time. And I didn't even know this. I've been doing free comic book day for like, gosh, it feels like 15 to 20 years now. Apparently, the green label means that, let me find one that's not green label. Uh, where's that My Little Pony book? Hold on a second. Uh, but apparently, whatever. So you have like green label, blue label, and red label. Apparently, green means like 8 and plus. Like blue is like anyone could read it. Green is 8 plus, and then red is 18 plus. So I got labeled a green label because the robots really beat themselves up in this one quite a bit, you know. But I love it. Proto Man got the right Proto Man. So I hope you guys enjoyed it. Hope you guys enjoyed it a lot. Yeah, it's the different age groups. I didn't know that. I didn't know that. All these years, I never paid attention to that. So, very, very cool that they do that. So it helps with identifying stuff. But so that was the book I worked on, and of course there was a teaser for the next book, which we might as well talk about it today. I have the Marcello cover here because I love Marcello. X number 3, which will be happening 2 Wednesdays from now. I believe the 13th, Wednesday, May 13th, will be X number 3. That'll be my next book, and it's this month in Mega May. So this is a awesome story. Mega Man is going to be unlocking the secrets of his past, and more that's going to be happening with his armor upgrades. And who's that guy? And Marcelo did a great job with the cover. Marcelo, of course, the guy who does the Transformer box art that you guys pick up from Age of the Primes, Legacy, and everything like that. He did this lovely cover here. We got all the Transformer crew to help out with some really cool covers across the different issues. So check that out. That is going to be May 13th, New Comic Book Wednesday. So check that out. And then after that, in the same month, 2 weeks after that, we're going to have number 4 with Vile. So we're going to be very busy with all of that. So you're going to have 3 different comic books written by me available just in May alone. It's funny, my birthday is in May too. So what a birthday gift. So there's all of that. Before I get into what I got from Free Comic Book Day, because it's quite a bit, we'll get into like some interesting stuff. So me and the wife, we went to this like Asian supermarket, and they had like a pop-up boutique for Miniso. Miniso is like, for lack of better words, it's like a Japanese, Chinese, Korean dollar store, but they always have like extra little weird stuff that they include also. So they had the Pac-Man collection celebrating Pac-Man, and they had all kinds of like Pac-Man merchandise. And most of it was like, keychains and plushes and t-shirts and stuff, all part of their Pac-Man collection. You could check it online. But I got pretty much the stuff that spoke to me that was kind of unique. They had this like pin. It's a pin, but it's a metallic pin, but it's one of those pins that have like sliders. So like you can like move around all the I'm doing a terrible job of showing how it works, but you can move around all the little ghosts and you can move around Pac-Man. It's all die cast, so that's kind of cute. I dig that, even though it's supposed to be this way. So they have that. That was pretty cool. What I really dug was this keychain, though. So this keychain is a little tape player, right? And what's cool about this keychain is it has a tape player. You open it, has a little tape cassette in it, little Pac-Man themed tape player, but it's actually a voice recorder. So you actually you hold the button here. What's up from the Transformer Slag podcast? And then you could play it back. I don't know if it went through there on the microphone. So that's kind of cool. It's just a little cute little keychain thing. It kind of is like a voice recorder. and it has like some Pac-Man themes on it. Has a little ghost and everything, and it has like again you could pop up thing. This is something that would be kind of cool if you just repurpose it as Soundwave, if anything. I'm surprised they didn't do that for Transformers. So that's really cool, and also it has a little Pac-Man acrylic keychain thingy there. This thing was like $5 Canadian, so that's kind of cool. That's kind of cool. So I dig that. And then they also had. I'm a big Gengar fan from Pokemon. They had this like Gengar like Gashapon, I don't know, slot machine thingy, candy dispenser. So you push it and then it would shoot candy out if you win. I don't know. Some silly Gengar thing. Again, I like Gengar, so I was like, oh, that's kind of cute. So I just kind of got that. That was kind of cool. But here's a little bit of an eat along. I saw this and I was like, oh, that's funny. And then my wife was like, why don't you buy it and eat it on the live stream? So this is the Masters of the Universe Heroes and Villains Gummies. So we're going to try some Masters of the Universe Heroes and Villains Gummies just in time for the movie. And yeah, so you have got He-Man, aka Prince Adam. You got Skeletor. You got the sword, the power sword, and you got Evil Lyn. And I don't know what flavors they're going to represent. There's how they kind of look on the back there. I guess. I guess He-Man's going to be. Let's see. I hope this thing's easy to rip open. It is not easy to rip open. One moment. There we go. Let's see. Oh, it smells good at least. So we got first. So here's Skeletor. That looks like that glows in the dark. So he's like purple and like a green color, I guess. There's Skeletor. Yeah, that's like some kind of leafy flavor. I do not know what. Yep. Link CW, what's up? Then we got the power sword. That's translucent. That's got to be like some kind of like strawberry or cherry. I have the power. Oh, that one's stronger. Mm. Riveting content, of course. Evelyn should be bitter. I have a feeling her and Prince Adam are probably going to be my favorite ones. Let me see if I can find an Evelyn. Okay, there we go. So there's Evelyn, like some kind of clear, probably grape. Yeah, she's grape. Grape flavor. Of course, riveting content is all. We watch Proto Man eat gummies. And then you got Prince Adam. Let the memes do their thing. He's probably orange. Not bad. Not bad. So again, not sponsored by this podcast. The He-Man Heroes and Villains gummies by Hewer. I don't know if this was in the Asian supermarket. It was just there hanging on a peg. So I was like, why not? Why not? Probably just in time for the movie or something. They licensed that. It's true. Try. You know what? Why try blacklight on the cannon? It's true. I'm gonna try that. I'm gonna see if I could. Because I have some glow in the dark transformers. I wonder if this thing glows in the dark. If it does, then oh my god, why did I eat it? Why did I? Yeah, it has like a little bit of a minty taste. The Skeletor. It's interesting. Interesting. So let's get into what we also got. So the beautiful thing with Free Comic Book Day, and this is what I always tell people, even if you aren't a big comic book person, you're into Transformers, go pick up the free Transformer comic if you want. But what's cool about Free Comic Book Day also is that it's kind of like an excuse for a lot of the comic stores to also do like crazy blowout sales. They'll do like, 30% off store wide or 10% off like this or 50% off clearance items. Like they'll always do some kind of crazy stuff. So a lot of the stores that I go to, they always carry also action figures, trading cards, all kinds of little things here and there. And so I know that one of them that I go to, specifically Cosmic, they always do 50% off their loose figures because they always get all kinds of stuff. They'll like someone will bring in a collection of comics, and they'll also have a bunch of loose figures of Marvel Legends or whatever. What's up, Bigum? And so I always like this and that and everything, and some of the cool stuff. Let me just pull everything out here. Giggity. I have some of her stuff here too that she picked up. But so of the action figure stuff, so they got this bad boy here. This was Marvel Selects Thanos. I have this mint on card, and I never opened it because at the time I think I spent $50 Canadian, and I spent $50 Canadian back in 2010. So it was probably like almost like 60, $70 Canadian back then. So this was a loose one. They originally had it for $30 in their store Canadian, 50% off. So now $15 for this big bad boy with the Infinity Gauntlet and everything. It did not have death that normally comes with it, but $15 for this guy. I have like a crazy Thanos display like next to my upstairs bathroom. But when you go into my upstairs bathroom, like you have like this huge like Thanos shrine. So he will be joining him there. Very cool. Again, $15 Canadian. Good price. I remember when I brought it to the cash, he was like, "Oh yeah, that's a good deal." To get it for 15. Um, Same thing, they did 50% off all their trading card stuff. I'm a big 90s non-sports trading card dude. I love Marvel Impel, or I love like Marvel Masterpiece or stuff like that. And DC didn't have as big an impact on the 90s trading card scene, but they tried this and that. And this was the second series of DC stuff. So they had it for $15 forever in their store. Now it's 50% off. I could get the full set for $7. Heck, just the glass, the little acrylic display is like $4 right there. So I got the full set. So I'm gonna put that in a nice little folder, have them all complete there. I know that the Nightwing's in this. There's a Power Girl card. They do a whole bunch of different lanterns with this set. I'm more familiar with the first set that had the gray borders, if anyone remembers those. I think it was called the DC Heritage series back in the day. So picked that up, $7. Not too bad. Not too bad. 750 technically. Not too bad. And then so every comic store has the basics of the list that I just showed you guys, but they'll also have like, other stuff. So, oh, do you want to get a comic? You could get three comics, but you could get three comics, or you could get two comics and like one of these little extra items. So one store had like trading card packs instead of taking a comic. So I took a pack of Upper Deck DC Annual, see what's happening with that. I'll crack that open at another time and see what I got. And she bought a pack of Attack on Titan TCG. I had no idea this was even a thing. So she took a pack of that. So I wonder what that's going to be inside. Kind of missing the boat on that one. Attack on Titan's already kind of on its way out, if not already from the manga and the anime. So we took those as kind of like not our comic choice because obviously I wasn't going to pick up my own book. So we had a little more open of what we're going to pick up. But what do we got? What do we got? Got quite a few things. There's books that we bought, and then there's books that we got, like of the free stuff. So one of the free comic book day exclusives, which they were only going to sell on free. You have the free comic book day, free comic books, and then they do like side items that are exclusive to free comic book day. And so they did the Absolute Batman hardcover trade that was free to not free, but debuting on free comic book day. So I picked that up. That collects issues 1 to 6 and has an exclusive cover and stuff. So that was cool. I always pick up whenever they do a free comic book day, like exclusive item or something. I always like to pick it up. They did a die cast car one year. They did like a little Green Lantern like figurine. Then of the books I picked up Captain Marvel, Dark Past. Again, I'm not a fan of New Carol. I actually hate Captain Marvel, but I love old Miss Marvel. So I almost just bought it just for this cover alone. Although this is going to talk about her dark past. If this is considered a dark past, then Marvel, what are you doing? This was best Captain Marvel. Best Miss Marvel. This was best Carol Danvers. That's just me. Got Jace issue number 1, Magic the Gathering. I love Jace. Nice back there too. From Dark Horse. Dark Horse is doing some good stuff. Then we got some more older books because again, if the store is going to do sales, so all the comics in the entire store of like the more upper tier were 30% off. So Cyborg number one, good old bronze issue book. What did I pay for that? So if it was $9 Canadian, 30% off. Let's say $6 for this one, six Canadian. Not too bad. Picked up this beautiful Baroness GI Joe number one variant cover when Baroness was part of the Joes. If you're reading the Energon Universe stuff, this was another $9 book, so about six something I picked up for that. A beautiful Marvel Presents book of Wolverine from the 80s. Love that one. Love that one. Thank you for the love and support, CW. Thank you, thank you. We've heard about the studio series, Roddy. We all know what that's going to be. We all know what that's going to be. Speaking of Roddy, here's one I picked up: Void Rivals, the Rodimus cover. Never got this cover when it was out there. I don't know why. My pull bin guy, he wasn't able to pick this up. I think this was cover B, this one. So I never got it. And then so I was like, okay, it's on the list of like stuff I'm missing. Because with Void Rivals, I just get kind of the hot rod covers. So I picked that one up. Good find too. Nice one. An Uncanny X-Men I was missing of, again, that more like Bronze Age with Kitty Pryde on the cover. I love any, early late 70s, early 80s Uncanny X-Men. Gotta love those. What If, 1970s What If book. Again, love old 70s and 80s Marvel. When I was a kid growing up, this was everything that was in the pull bins back in the day. So always have like a nostalgia for it, and I love the What If series. We got a Avengers Assemble Thanos cover, just a rando cover. It was a buck. Sometimes you buy a book just because the cover's nice. So why not? Why not? This is a 3D cover, kind of a facsimile of, I believe it was Wolverine issue number 14, 15. Correct me if I'm wrong. First time Wolverine and Thanos. First time Wolverine and Sabretooth encountered each other, at least at the time in comic books. So this was the first time they encountered each other in Wolverine's ongoing series from back in the day. This is a 3D cover. It's kind of hard to see it through there. Dug that one. And then the big purchase of the day, taking advantage of the 30% off on their wall, was Death of Jean Grey for $50. So I was like, okay, 30% off to turn that down. I think it came to like 27, something like that. No, it came to like $29 Canadian for Death of Jean Grey in immaculate condition. Sure thing. Always take advantage of those sales. Issue 10, thank you. I remember it was like 11, something like that. So took advantage of all of that. And then let's talk Free Comic Book Day. Let's talk free. So first, of course, she picked this. So some of these are hers, some of these are mine. So excuse the difference in choices. Lego Batman. Got Lego Batman, promoting Lego Batman. I don't know if anyone picked that one up. We got, of course, He-Man Masters of the Universe. Another good one. You got Sonic the Hedgehog. Good old Sonic. Sonic had two comic books. Two comic books on Free Comic Book Day. Sonic is here's the other one. Sonic and DC. Promoting, of course, the Sonic DC action figures that are out, and of course the storyline and everything. So very, very cool. This is one of hers that she picked up. She picked up Archie, because it's Archie. Why not? What is this one here? World of Archie. And it also has Sabrina and Betty and Veronica stories. Sure. She also picked up this one, Supergirl, because why not? Again, they got to promote the Supergirl movie, so you got to put a Supergirl story out there. It's just smart business. Then, of course, you got the two-sided. You got ponies and you got Gem. But it's all about the ponies. Or is it about Gem? I don't know. You tell me. Is it the ponies or is it the 80s glam girl? I don't know. Friendship is Magic or Totally Outrageous. So there's that one. You got Garfield. Good old Garfield. How are these ones? We were just talking about him hanging in the window of people's stuff. Full color Garfield stories. Got that one. This one's cool. Spidey and his amazing friends. If you play Marvel Rivals, you know. You know. You know, good one there. This one was unique to my store. This was leftover stock from their Trick or Read. So some comic stores during trick or treating of Halloween, they'll give away reprints for like free. And so this was the Venom Lethal Protector Trick or Read. It's just a reprint of the old Venom Lethal Protector 1990s book from back in the day. So I was like, oh, that's cool. I've never seen this variant of this cover before. Although it's the original art, just without the foil and everything. Then we got Godzilla and Fantastic Four, another Trick or Read book. Didn't know about this one. Again, usually during Halloween, I'm giving out candies to kids. I'm not out there getting comic books. So that's another cool one. And then they had these too. Like there was a lot of just like, so they had this one too, Trick or Read, X-Men 97. Didn't know this one existed either. Again, I'm at home during trick or treating. So very cool. Again, it's all the leftover stock that they got. They had these ones. These were from Nacelle, RoboForce for free. That's an awesome one. They had a whole stack of these. And then after they ran out of the RoboForce, they're like, oh, we also have Biker Mice from Mars. So I was like, damn, okay. These were free. That's great. Biker Mice from Mars for free on free comic book day. Let's rock and ride. Da-na-na-na. That's really cool. And then we have, of course, Street Fighter from my Udon people. So that's a really cool one too. Nice Street Fighter Forever. Very well done book. Check that one out. And last but not least, the Transformers book, Energon Universe. Mostly a mask story with a little splattering of Transformer stuff. I don't want to spoil too much. There's a nice, cute little scene with a certain hard-headed Autobot. But yeah, you got Energon Universe, a #1 free comic book day special. Check that out too. Nice 30-page story with Mask, G.I. Joe, Transformers, the Void Rivals kind of crossover stuff. A lot of cool stuff going on there. Very, very cool. Very, very cool. And that's all I picked up. A lot of reading material. Let's just say tonight I'll have a stack of bedside reading that's going to be pretty fun. What's up, Aaron? You just missed out on our comic talk. Everything that we picked up on Free Comic Book Day. A lot of cool little things here and there. What's up? What's up? I didn't get a free Greatest American. The thing is you could only take so many books. So with me, it's always like, you know, I'm going to respect the limits that you're allowed to take. Usually it's between 2 to 3 books, sometimes four in some locations. Oh, and then also this too. She picked up a Benderwitz cigar that was in the box too. She also picked that up. I know she picked that up for her. That was thrown in there. I think the only book that I didn't get that I kind of was curious was there was one called Taco and Pizza. I don't know if it's on the poster here. Let me see. Is it on there? Oh, it's not. So yeah, we didn't get Aquamanatee. That would have been kind of good too. See, there's the Greatest American Hero. That's the one. Let me just see here. Just want to make sure we don't miss nobody. That's the one that he's referring to. And you got my book. A lot of good stuff there. A lot of good stuff. The Sonic book, the Street Fighter book, the Archie book. Ours has one of each allowed. Wow, that's really cool. I guess maybe because it's Montreal and like the lines are crazy with ours. So we're only like there. It's like you have 25 books and a little bit of the extras, and they just go like pick like 3 things. I know that at Crossover Comics here in Montreal, they had all of that, and then they also had like, oh, you if you don't want that, you could get a keychain of like Transformers, or you could get a Pokemon flip coin or something. Like they always have little extras for the kids instead if they don't want a comic. So It's true. There was an Avatar book, and I think what the Avatar book had a video game thing too. What was it? Was it Minecraft or something? I know they had like a crossover, not a crossover, like a backup story. So a lot of cool stuff. Again, free comic book day is awesome. Free comic book day is so cool because it's, number one, it's free. So even like the most, price sensitive individual could go into a comic book store, pick up like a handful of books, and be introduced to a new world that maybe they weren't, engaging in before. And depending on your walk of life, you never know. Might be something you might be into, you know? JR Mina, what's up, my man? From the Philippines. Have a great stream, Proto. Everyone will replay the second half of the stream. Off to display some TF figures at a local swap meet. Oh, very cool. Very, very cool. Make some money, my man. If it's a swap meet, make some money. Very, very cool. Thank you for the love and support as always. Go have fun. What time is it right now? It's like, what is like 10 a.m. right now over there for you guys? Or like, it's either 10 a.m. Philippines, so Japan 1 hour over, I guess. No, it's probably the same time zone. So, yes, you're probably like 10 a.m. Have fun. Have fun. Ours didn't get a few titles. Well, it really depends. Like, so I don't know how it is now. I know when Diamond Distribution was in charge of Free Comic Book Day, how it used to be was they used to do this thing where it's like, is your store capable of getting gold titles or silver titles? Like they would do like this like tier system. And so I don't know how it is now because now there's like, it's like you have Lunar Distribution, and you have Penguin House, and they have their two different free comic book day kind of entities, like giveaway day and this and that. So, and it depends what they order from. I know that the first store I went to, they were missing the gem book. They didn't have the gem book. That wasn't there. But then when I went to the second store, and I don't know if it's sold out or not, but they didn't have the Garfield book. And I know she was looking for the Garfield book. So it really depends. Every store is different, you know? That's why I always tell people like, use that store locator. Go to freecomicbookday.com, use that store locator and try to find like two or three stores. That way you could kind of like hit them all up and get what you're looking for specifically and also again support three local businesses in your area, you know, which would be really cool. Which would be really really cool. Draco Rex, chances of animated Black Arachnia soonish. You know what? I mean, let's put it this way. Let's say they did do an updated animated Black Arachnia figure. I don't think it would be as good as what we got before. I think if we would get an updated animated Black Arachnia that would make you happy, it would probably come from the Flame Toys Furry model kits. And then you'll be very happy. And Derek from above would be smiling because he loved it too. He was a man of culture, Mr. Wyatt, and I respect him for it. So thank you for the super chat. T Formers 2002. My store didn't really specify the number you could get this year, but I only grabbed a few, and I didn't see people with stacks. Well, again, it depends when you get there. Like the first store I get there the moment they open, like that, and so there's tons of it. By the time and you have to understand, like I get there at 10 a.m. That's when they open. Talk to the owner, hey, how you doing? By the time I get to the next store, it's probably already like an hour and a half later. Think about already how many people have eaten through that. Then when I'm done that store, by the time I get to the last store, probably like 2 p.m., 3 p.m., there's very little left. There was no Mega Man books left. By the time I got to the third store, there was very like they were bringing out other. I think that's why they brought out the biker mice from Mars and the other stuff because they just needed other material because they started running out. And that makes sense. Like that's why they keep some like whatever. And you see this a lot. You go to some stores, they'll have free comic book day books from last year because what they'll do is they'll whatever wasn't given away that year, they keep it and then they save it for next year as like backup inventory when stuff goes out. Yeah, there was no tiers this year, but that was something that they did last year, which was kind of a way to measure what books would be at what stores. Oh, you're like a lower tier store, so you didn't get this many. But this year, it's like it's a whole new system completely. Just the pain of using two different distributors for free comic books editors or multiple FOC days. Well, I mean, that's the sad reality of, Diamond distribution. Diamond was, for lack of better words, a double-edged sword. There was a lot of stuff that Diamond did throughout the years that distributors and stores didn't like. And then but at the same time, even though they did a lot of stuff that people didn't like, it was probably the best system that existed at that time. And now we live in a world where there's two distributions, you have to worry about two different things, and maybe it's a little better in terms of customer service and stuff and respect of the businesses, because Diamond literally was just like, oh, people are suffering during the big V and everything. I'm done. And Giuseppe, with his millions that he made, just made off with everybody, leaving everyone high and dry. And now supposedly Diamond wants to sue people now. I don't know. Not getting involved in that, but it's like, ugh, you know. Either way, I don't have anything positive to say of some of the upper management of Diamond Distribution. Let's put it that way. And that goes long before I was working on comic books. That was something that just within the collecting community we didn't like, you know? So T-Formers 2002. I only got the one location, but supposed to, on Wednesday we could see what they have left over. I'm surprised they don't keep it for next year, unless they always have tons left over every year, and so it's perfectly fine. But that makes sense. Joseph, Joseph, how you doing with the $5 super chat? Back from Japan. Japan. You back from Japan? Are you sure you're back from Japan, or you're just stuck there forever? Bought a Missing Link Ultra Magnus for 120. That's actually not too bad. That's actually not too bad. I think, actually, Joseph, you probably could have gotten it cheaper. No? I mean, what's the MSRP on that? Isn't that like $89 when you really do the direct exchange? I don't know. Maybe I'm wrong on that. I think so. I think it was like 120,000 yen, which then with exchange could come to like 89, 90 with the exchange today. Maybe I'm wrong. But still a good price. I mean, it's better than the $200 everyone else is asking. I mean, people weren't buying 100% complete vintage 1986 Ultra Magnuses for $120. Why would they be buying a Missing Link one for that? So, let alone 200. But hey, the best part about it is you get the little powered buggy, aka Deer Stalker. So, life is good. You get the little dude. Was priced around 170. There you go. Because I remember some people were asking like 200, which is ridiculous, you know? Which also it makes me sad because I'm like, if we ever got a Unicron, right? What would they ask for that? If Ultra Magnus is almost $200, what would Unicron be? 500? You know? So that's kind of scary. When he should really be, a simple one. What's up, Mikey and Louie? How you doing? How was your free comic book day? What was the cool stuff you picked up? Media Max, Proto, I was thinking about third-party products. Why are none of their transformations fun? They're purposely overcomplicated for no reason. Well, I mean, if you get a lot of there's two camps that are really popular right now in modern third party. You have the little like legend scale stuff, and then you have like, here's the masterpiece that I don't have yet officially from Takara. And unfortunately, those two camps are like always complicated stuff. We don't have the days where it was like, oh, like here's Fan Project making like this not RC, or like, I'm trying to look at some, like simple upgrade kits that are a couple folds and everything. It's they're trying to make the best possible product, and sometimes the best possible product requires, for lack of better words, a complicated transformation. You know, not everything is a slam dunk, animated product that was planned from the get go. Mikey, I believe one of the coolest things we picked up was the Megatron comic. Uh, I mean, the Mega Man comic. It's pretty good. It's pretty good, the Mega Man comic. It's pretty good. I think it's not bad. I think some of the advertisement on the back's kind of cool. I like the Vile advertisement on the back. And what else do we got here? We got the advertisement for the hardcover trade that we're going to be debuting at San Diego Comic Con. That's pretty cool. You'll have my book along with David Oxford, Matt Moylan, Travis. Uh, Trying to think of who else was on those books. Mick Fong was on those. Chamba was on those. Dax, Hanzo, obviously Edwin, who worked with me. Josh Perez did coloring on some of these. That's going to be a nice hardcover collection. That'll be available too. A lot of cool stuff. A lot of cool stuff. Uh, Check out Dr. Wu's Micromaster stuff. I love the Micromaster scale third party stuff. The problem is that it's so expensive. I see them mint in box and I love the box art on them. They're so cool, but it's like, ooh, like if there's anything I hate more, and I love it, but I hate it, but I love it, but I hate it, is a box that is so nice that you want to keep it in the box. But then if you keep it in the box, you can't enjoy the product. And there's certain third party items that it's all about the box presentation. And that would be fine if it was an action figure where there's no surprises. Like if this was a non transforming Cyclonus, then and it was like this in robot mode, I'm fine keeping it in the package. A lot of my carded reaction Super 7 stuff is like that. Because really, if I open that carded Super 7 reaction transformer, what's the surprise? That it does this? You know? So you're not missing anything. But these beautifully boxed third party items that are like, do I want to open it? Do I buy a second one? Am I going to be that guy? You know, it's crazy. It's crazy. It's crazy. And then here's the big problem. Now you buy two of them, right? So you have two of them. Now you open one, right? So you can have the figures. But then your OCD is like, well, I don't want to throw out the box. Now that I've opened it, I don't want to throw out the box. So you keep that empty box. But then you have the mint in box one that's in the package, and you want to have that on display. So now you have two boxes that are taking space in your house. But not only do you have two boxes that are taking space in your house, you have the two boxes, and then you have the figurines themselves taking space. So from the purchase of one, you've taken up the space of three, when the more rational human being would have just bought the figures, thrown out the box, wouldn't have gotten a second one, and moved on with their life. These are the modern toy problems of the modern toy collector. If Hoarders ever is still a show in like 30 years from now, we're going to have like 80, 70 and 80-year-old toy collectors. And you're going to have like these hoarder guys going through like their crawl spaces. Like, these are all just empty boxes. There's no toys in these. Yeah, but I need to keep the box with the toy. It's like the plight that we go through. Oh, I stop it too. One for Robot Mud. No, that used to be me with hot rod toys. I'll always like, oh, there's a new hot rod figure. I'll buy one to have carded, one to have in robot mode, one to have in alt mode. And if you look in my like collection up until about, I want to say 2010, 2011, there was a lot of that. Like you'll see like, oh, here's Proto Man's animated display and like four hot rod figures, in a corner because he got like three of them to have every mode. The struggle is real. The struggle is real. Triple changers. Imagine if you're someone who has six shot. I'm the biggest six shot collector in the world. And I have to have all six modes. Well, what about the mysterious seventh mode, the wing wolf mode? So then you have to have that. And then you have to have one mint in box. So you end up buying 8 six shots to have like the full experience every single time. My goodness, you know? And then all of his redecos and repaints. So you got to get Six Gun. You got to get Shadow Maru, not Six Gun, Six Night. And you got to get Shadow Maru, you know, get all of them. Yeah, that's what people did with the Ninja Turtle one. The four different turtles, the two different turtle, the alternate turtle alt mode, and then the Not alt mode, alternate turtle robot mode that was kind of like Mecha Turtle, and then the alt mode, the van. So you had to get 6 of them in total. Ugh. And then if you want to be anal, you then customize a light blue bandana so you could have Venus de Milo. Or if you read the old Archie comics, a white bandana when April turned into a Ninja Turtle for that one issue. Or a pink bandana for the prototype of Venus de Milo. So now you're up to how many now? What are we at? 9? What a world we live in. I swear, I love Japan, but whenever I look at Japanese toy collectors, I go, I don't know how you guys do it. I don't know how they do it. I really don't. I live in a nice house, and I feel like sometimes I'm like, one day it's going to become too much. I still have another 40 years of my life if I'm lucky. And I don't know, like, when does this end? Look, I just picked up a stack of books this big and a couple of figures. More space, you know? Granted, I sell things too, but I definitely buy more than I sell in a lot of cases. So it is what it is. Oh yeah, 3 animated Rodimus multiplied by 5 or 6 repaints. Well, I got three classic colored ones, 2 of the Japanese version, 2 of the clear Rodimus, which was the Sons of Cybertron, 2 of the side swipe, and 2 of the black Rodimus. I don't have 2 of I think it was Dead End. Was it Dead End? Who was Yeah, it was Dead End. That was the other redeco. So I don't have 2 of that. I only have one of Dead End because he was part of the box set. So I wasn't going to buy 2 box sets. Are you crazy? So there's that. And I think that's it. I think that's it. I must not be forgetting anything else. If I am, I'm probably crazy. I could even show you, like, no, yeah, you can kind of see a little of the animated all starts here, but the madness, the turtle formers. Rodimus Supreme, 13, 13 G1 the RID Car Robots Galvatron, aka Devil Gigatron. That's true. Oh my goodness, to do all those alt modes, to do the hand mode, and then you have to do the hand mode, and then you got to attach the hand mode somehow to a Brave Maximus back there. My goodness, have all of those, all the craziness. Box purges feel satisfied. I will never forget Rudy Mack. I the photo is floating around somewhere on Twitter. I'd have to find it. I had moved into this house. The photo's probably from maybe 2011, let's say 2012. It was about a year or two after moving in here. I finally got around to opening up every Revenge of the Fallen toy I had. And I had like embarrassingly almost everything that was available at that time. And I remember saying to myself, if I keep every card back in bubble, this will be insane. So I had one of these like big recycling bins, not like your little green bin, not like one that's the size of your garbage can. I'm talking like the one that like goes up to like here. So I had a huge recycling bin, giggity. I filled that mofo from top to bottom just in Revenge of the Fallen card backs and those clear bubbles, the bubble on the packaging, top to bottom. And I was so surprised how much I did. I took a photo of it because I was just like, damn, you know, damn, like, wow, that is a lot. And it was just a reflection of like how much space that stuff takes. And like now it's all loose figures and they're all together and everything for the Revenge of the Fallen display of that year going into Dark of the Moon. But man, all of that product when it was boxed and carded packaging, man, did that take a lot of space. So it's something where it's like, if you can get that stuff out of your, my rule personally is it has to be a really top tier character I love, like really top tier. It has to be like a Hot Rod, Metal Hawk, Minerva, Nitro Convoy. Like it's a very short list. Like a very short list. I love Cliff Jumper. I ain't keeping his packaging. you know, like has to be a really top tier character. Otherwise, has to be vintage. And vintage to me, the cutoff point is around like 2001. So like that's like vintage to me. Will I keep like an old Armada packaging? I'll try to pair it off with an Armada product I'll find and try to sell it. I won't keep it really. I'll keep like one or two. I have a carded, hot shot the hot rod colored one. So I already have the one. So I'm good. I kept the Unicron box, certain rarefied items, but in general, I get rid of most packaging. I keep masterpieces, I keep the more high end stuff, Japanese stuff. But if it's like, you know, any new Legacy, any new Age of the Primes outside of the 13, all the Cyber World stuff, like not keeping that. Like that all takes space. A lot of it I just get because it takes too much space. It's just all of that space that the boxes take could be more figures. And you're going to hit a point in your life where that becomes a problem. Like I had living with my parents, we had a crawl space under the entrance of our house, and it was just filled with Transformer boxes and empty boxes of Gundam model kits. Like you build the model kit, now you just have the empty box with the sprues. Why was I keeping these? Especially when you could flatten those. Like it's not like both sides of the box are useful. The other side of the box is just corrugated brown cardboard, you know, but it takes a lot of space. So just put it out there. Return it back to the soil from which it came in recycling, you know? What is T-Formers saying here? T-Formers. I had the boxes for nearly an entire siege line, and one day I purged them in a huge to do and was huge weightlifted. Yeah, that's the whole point. It gets to a point where it's like, unless you're going to part with those figures in the near future, it's not point. There's no point. And here's a reality, right? Here's where it gets crazy. Like here, let me show you something. Okay, this goes to what I was saying. One moment. Proto Man's getting some stuff. Something I pulled out giggity not too long ago. So let's say your Proto Man. The year is 1996. Let's get a 96 item. The year is 1996. Okay? You're 30 years ago. You're standing in Zellers. One second. I want to make sure I get it. Yeah, okay. You're standing in Zellers. You picked up your Beast Wars Rhinox for 12.97 Canadian, which is $10 USD back then, right? And you open up your Rhinox, you display it, and then you go, I'm going to keep this card back because one day this tech spec and this card back is going to make the Rhinox worth more money. Well, I'd hate to break it to you. You held on to this piece of cardboard for 30 years. 30 years. You held on to all this cardboard for 30 years. Maybe not this bootleg one, Savage Beast, but. And what did it get you? What did it get you? Nothing. It it does not move the needle at all. That complete Rhinox is worth just as much with that card back or without. It didn't make a difference, and you held on to it for 30 years. So, and that's one micro story of something from 30 years ago. You're trying to tell me if you would have kept, and I'm not saying I'm not trying to pick on you, T-Formers 2002, but it's a good example. If you would have held on to those siege boxes for 30 years, and then you finally turn around and sell that siege sideswipe with its box, you think you would have moved the needle on selling that product? No. If anything, you have like a guy who bought it from you. Go, hey man, if you like just throw out the box and just send me the loose figure, would shipping be cheaper? That's the reality. You know, gets crazy. Oh, there was a super chat. I'm sorry. Draco Rex, any chance of a SWAT Cats X Transformers collab? Well, here's the first question. Who owns the IP trademark to SWAT Cats? That's the first place I would look. That'd be the very first place I'd be thinking of, you know? So it's something where then you'll be able to decide if that's something that could be that could happen. You know what I mean? But getting back to what I was saying, like it's not worth it in general to keep the packaging. With masterpieces, sometimes it's worth it to keep the packaging only because masterpieces come with so many parts and pieces that if anything, the packaging is like a holding tray for like all the hands, all the weapons, the stands, the this, the that, the interchangeable pieces and parts. But in general, just free up the space in your life. There's this one guy on TFCon staff. I don't want to say his name, but he is borderline a hoarder. I went into his house and it's just boxes and boxes and boxes that go all the way back to movie 2007. Like it's just insane. And it's like, do you need to have the box for movie 2007 Blackout? You know? Like, I don't know. I don't know. I got a TF1 Soundwave Champion blocky signed by John Bailey the boss. Well, that's different. If you have like and keep in mind, like if you have a mint and sealed box product, that's a different story. If you did something to it that adds value, like if you had like I have a, boxed product or stuff like that, and you get Aaron Archer to put art on it, that's different. I'm talking about like I'm gonna hold on to Retrax's I'm going to hold on to Retrax's card back from 1997. One day it's going to be worth money. Wait, Retrax was reissued and was made terrible and no one wants Retrax? What am I going to do with this card back? This card back's in terrible quality. It's kind of folded in half even. Okay. Well then, maybe this Cheetor. No, Transmetal 1 hasn't been made into a new product, right? Maybe I'll hold on to this Transmetal 1 Cheetor card back. It'll be worth money one day, right? What's that? You only just want the figure? You don't care about the card back? Oh, okay. Well then how about I don't know. How about oh yeah, here we go. Here's some good ones. I hope people love collecting beast machines for this. Look at this package art for this figure. Oh, Jetstorm's package art. But nothing, you thought Jetstorm's package art was awesome. How about Optimus Primal's package art? Oh, Optimus Primal's. But you know who's even better than Jetstorm or Optimus Primal's package art? Let's talk about Silverbolt's. Wow. Oh, good thing I kept Silverbolt's card back. But you know what? It's a good thing I kept Silverbolt's card back because it doesn't compare to that of Black Arachnia's. Ooh, Black Arachnia had the best art. Look how she looks there. Rawr. You know, like sometimes it's just like, what are we doing here? What are we doing here? You know? So you have to really think about it, you know? But these are vintage to me. This is from, my return to Transformers. I came back into the game in 95, 96, and it represents that 5-year run in the late 90s of the early days of the Transformer community. Titan boxes, what are those like Titan and Supreme class? I would actually keep those boxes only to hold other stuff in it. So, like to give an example, I would take whatever is. It started with Optimal Optimus. So when I first got Optimal Optimus, I was like, man, this box is huge because it's like he has like his arms up like this in the packaging just to make it even more take space. And I remember going like, I could put all my instructions for Beast Wars in this box. So I put all the loose instructions in there. And then I put all the Beast Machines ones in there. Then when I got Primal Prime, I was like, well, okay, well, I guess I'll put, card backs and other stuff in that one. Then when I got I guess, Air Attack Optimus Primal, I put all the instructions and stuff from Robots in the Skies in there. When I got Unicron, all of the Armada instructions, all of the, and then same thing. So whenever I got a big box, I always used it as a storage method. Same thing. Supreme Cheetor. I don't think I put anything in that one, but because that one had a hole on the bubble, so stuff could fall out. But yeah, I need those Beast Machines boxes. Yeah, they're just. I mean, I didn't even show you. Hey, look at the box art on Thrust here. Goodness. Oh my goodness. Marcelo, you got to be careful. You're going to lose your job because look at this. Oh, the blues and everything, and look how Thrust looks there. Wow, he looks very familiar. He reminds me of someone. I don't know who, but Thrust looks just as good. But how about Mole? Look at Mole from Kmart. I even have the Kmart sticker on there. Adds to the flavor. But look at Mole's packaging art there. Phoning it in, and we're keeping these. We're keeping these. No Supreme Cheetor. Just stayed in his box. Well, that's one way to do it. My Supreme Cheetor in my display stays in cat mode because number one, he takes too much. Like he would be a waste of space in the. There's no other figures that are that tall, so it would just waste the space in the display. And number two, I worry that stupid thing's gonna fall over one day and just knock over everything. So you keep it in cat mode. I should probably take a nice photo of my Beast Machines. Beast Machines, the whole line just like fits in the corner. Like no joke. Like see this corner here that's like Robot Masters and Telemocha and 10th Anniversary Beast Wars. That's like this little corner here. You could fit every Beast Machines toy in that corner. That's how small that line was. Like I think it Beast Machines and animated were like the shortest and smallest giggity Transformer main lines easily. And Beast Machines primarily because didn't do very well. And in the case of Transformers animated, because like, oh no, the movies did well. Scoot scoot, let's go to Transformers Prime. So the rarest one was Beast Machines Megatron. Yeah, well it's true, there is some with Megatron box art on them. And there's some with the technically the Dinobot subline that has T-Rex, his dino face on the cover. I have those too. I have those too. They're here. They're all here somewhere. They're all here. So many. So many. And you know what's even more funny? I love when I look at the prices on them. Look at this. Kmart, 6.99 for a basic scale. This was Silverbolt, you know? Oh, the prices back then. Kmart with what's her name there? Rosie O'Donnell doing the commercials. Where is the retool of Quintus into Botanica already? Yeah, seriously. That'll come. That'll come. I think they want to have a little distance from those original 13 molds before they start doing some stuff with them. But those will definitely come at some point, especially Botanica. I think she's so long overdue. I'm just looking at all the 13 now, and I'm like, like I could see so many different fembots being used from Solus. I could see they're gonna do like all kinds of Diaclone deep cuts with Amalgamus. There's gonna be some fun done there, definitely. Not just the price, but also being Kmart being gone. Yeah, well, that too. We're all old now. We're all old. Like all of these were bought at this was bought at a Chinese bootleg store in Montreal that doesn't exist anymore. This was bought at a Chinese bootleg store in Montreal that doesn't exist anymore. That doubled as a flower shop. I remember this one. This was Galaxy, and it has Double Zeta Gundam on it, but it held a Cheetor figure for what I know a Tigatron figure for whatever reason, and I just keep them in the stack because they were Beast Wars related. This was bought from Zellers, which doesn't exist anymore. Zellers was our version of Target. And then let's see. Here's a Walmart sticker. This one's from the States, probably. No, this is Canadian because it's $12. But this was a Walmart in Canada. We still have Walmarts for now, but even those are starting to go bankrupt for all kinds of dubious reasons. Ah, the industry. What sticker is this one? Oh, this is the Bay. Oh my goodness. I haven't seen one of those. The Bay. That's like Eaton Center. I don't know if you guys have that. Wow, the Bay. Haven't seen that one in a while. So many. This was a web exclusive Tripredicus Agent. This one's actually kind of cool though. Good old Tripredicus Agent. The TM2 Cheetor repaint. That's an awesome one. But yeah. Where are we at here? Picking up a rare movie box set last week with a big Toys R Us sticker ripped rip. Yeah, man. Well, that's why like it gets kind of sad. I have on my wall like I almost use let me show you guys. Hold on. I use it as like border wallpaper whenever I could get cheap carded GoBots. Cuz now it's not as easy to get cheap carded GoBots, but there was once a time when you could get carded GoBots for like $10 each at Transformer conventions. And I'm talking like as late as like 2010, people didn't care. And I used to just pick them up so cheap. And let me just show you guys, move the camera all the way here and see, like, I just would just line the wall with them. And a lot of them, you can see those green stickers on them. Let me get my finger in there, giggity. So those are Toys R Us stickers from God knows when, 2006, excuse me, 1986. You know, who knows? Some of those, they're not dated on them, but definitely like 86, 87 probably, because it was, if you go to like 1983, Toys R Us was called Child's Place back then, so it definitely wasn't then. But a lot of stuff, and I just screwed up the camera for the display now. Oh, man. So I don't mess with the camera. We good? Okay. But yeah. Oh, the Ninjatron. Ninjatron says the toy department at the Bay was hit or miss. Ninjatron, I loved how hit or miss that toy department was. I went to a Bay toy department. I swear to God, a Bay toy department. This was 2007, maybe 2008. They had carded, three carded Beast Wars drill bits, MSRP 8.99 Canadian, just sitting there in the most dog eaten up card backs I have ever seen. And they have been there for clearly more than 10 years, just sitting there. 10 years sitting there. And I bought all three of them. And me being a dummy, I brought them to a toy show and I sold them at $20 a piece, thinking like, oh man, I made a profit. 8.99 plus Quebec taxes, so it probably came to like 11, $12, and then I sold it for 20, so I made $9, for my time, per unit of the three. But still, like, insane, insane. Another one was Scavenger, the Transmetal, I guess we'll call it Transmetal Inferno. My Zellers had Scavenger until like, when was that Ninja Turtles movie, the CG one? When was that one? The one that was like with Karai, and it had Patrick Stewart as the villain. What year was that? The TMNT CG movie. So that year, and the only reason why I remember that was because I remember they had the new toys of it on display, and next to it was like two mint in box scavengers from Transmetal One. And I bought one of them ironically because I was just like 2007. Okay, yes, that's not too bad. Okay. 2007. Okay. So that would have been like, yeah, also 10 years. Man, it's like 10 years though. At that time, it would have been 10 years. That's kind of like, to give people perspective, that's like if you walked into Walmart today and you were finding like Titan's Return product, like brand new on the card. Like what is all this Titan's Return product still doing here? That's to kind of give it an equivalency. It's kind of nutty. But Zellers, the Bay, you have to understand Canada, sometimes distribution is so bad and retail stores are so stubborn that they don't want to liquidate their product. They'll just leave it sitting there at full MSRP until like the boxes are falling apart, until like the card backs are just melting because they're so stubborn. Sometimes it works out. I bought a copy of Earthbound mint in box for 89.99 from Zellers because they sat on it forever and they didn't care. And then when Smash Brothers came out, I went, "Uh-oh, people are going to start caring about Earthbound." So I went and bought a copy, and then another friend bought the other copy, and both of us now are sitting on expensive stuff. But they always would sit on all kinds of things forever. They had the Shadow Raiders Beast Planet mint in box, sat there forever, forever. I don't know who came and bought that. I wish it was me, but someone came and bought that years later. T Forbes 2002 toy show near me in Cringe last week. Picked up Transmetal Scavenger for $10. He's fantastic and gets a little. Well, you know what? You know what? It's a great toy. It's fun. It's interesting. It's clearly just Transmetal Inferno. Just they didn't want to call it Transmetal Inferno, probably for number one license, trademark reasons, and number two, just because maybe Inferno had some bad mojo because the last version didn't sell very well, which was the original Ant Inferno in retail. It actually was a bit of a shell former product back in the day, but great toy. I like it. If you could get the Japanese version, then you get the true Metals Inferno, as it was called in Japan. It has a different deco on his butt, the little the little Destron emblem. James Hopkins Walmart around here still has bots from Legacy. Oh, well, see, I could, if it's like Legacy stuff, okay, sitting on 3-year-old product, I'll forgive you there, you know. But the moment you hit like a decade, that's when it's like you're in a very special kind of store, you know. Like Walmart, they move their inventory. Toys R Us in Canada, Toys R Us would hold on to stuff for like 5 years. Like some stuff would definitely like hit that 5 year point in terms of like holding on to things. Cause I know that in like 2006, 2007, you could still find Wave One Armada stuff at Toys R Us in Canada. Now that's not like amazing. But it's like, okay, in 2006, Armada came out in 2003. So it's 3 years old. So, like I said, classics, movie is on the shelf. And then there from 3 years ago is Laserbeak from Armada, because there was plenty of those. There was plenty of Laserbeak, plenty of Red Alert. I found Red Alert was another one that kind of like stuck around. Obviously, Smokescreen was another one too, and a lot of those not Creo, Build to Rule stuff kind of stuck around a little bit. Got those really on the cheap because they nobody wanted those. Uh, you find it hard to accept that Inferno was a shelf warmer. He was a popular character. I agree. I think that I think that the mega price point might have been a little cursed. Because think about it, Ninjatron. So you start with Polar Claw and Scorponok, which I guess those did well. And then you jump into, and here's where it gets hairy, Transketo and Inferno, which both of those had pretty bad sales numbers. And then you go into the next wave after that, which you get into Megatron and Optimus. Those are going to sell well. Let's worry about the GPS, the brown plastic syndrome on Megatron later. And then you have Inferno that comes afterwards, and Optimus was a filler because you had Megatron, Optimus, and then the following wave was Inferno, and Optimus was the filler in that wave. And Optimus is an Optimus; he'll sell, but that Inferno, not so much. So, and then after that, who was the Mega in the following one? Trying to think. Trying to think who was the Mega afterwards. I know the Ultra was Depth Charge and Rampage. Who was the Mega? I'll look over there. Oh, I don't recall. Someone will have to refresh my memory. Yeah, Polar Claw is awesome. He's probably my favorite of all of those. That dude is the best. Baboom, thank you. Baboom's another one. That was from '97 though. Baboom, I think, did okay. Baboom did okay. Cyber Shark, that's from Transmetal 2s. That's right. Good old Green Boy. Cyber Shark. That was gifted to me, that one. But who was with Cyber Shark? There had to be someone else because it's always two per case. It couldn't have been just Cyber Shark. Who else was it? You know what? This is when we go to the book. This is when we go to the book. So then, let's go first to Transmetals. So of course you said Baboom. Yep. Cyber Shark. Probably should go like this for you guys so we could read along. There's the Trans Keto, but in the Beast Wars Neo and second colors. Of course, we have our combiners. Getting more Japanesey stuff. Nope, nope, nope. Deluxes. Rat Trap was a deluxe. If you're referring to the larger one. Transmetal 2 Black Arachnia. You are correct. You are correct, my friend. You win a nugget. Transmetal 2 Black Arachnia was the other one. You're right. And there he is. There is the man. Transmetal 2 Black Arachnia. Yeah, there's the Cyber Shark. That was a good one. And then we get into Animorphs. The delicious Animorphs. But yeah, great book, by the way, guys, if you could get your hands on it cheap. Once in a while, they should do another reissue of this. Fantastic book. It's true, the Black Arachnia. That one I never saw in retail because that was like late wave. And then I got it years later from eBay with his removable bra. With the removable bra. Pull a book down. Book name. This is the Transformers Beast Generation Guidebook. This is done by the legendary crew that does all of the guidebooks. It's good old Hobby Japan. They did the very first one many years ago. They're sometimes called a MOOK, MOOK, which is like a magazine book, but although they're thick and full color. They did the very first generation's guidebook back in 2002, and then they did this one here. This one the first one represented G1 and G2, and it covered Japanese stuff, UK stuff, American stuff, variants, prototypes, and they all had all kinds of cool stuff in the back and art. This one represents Beast Wars, both Japanese, American, UK, Beast Wars Second, Beast Wars Neo, and Beast Machines, and Car Robots, Robots in Disguise 2001, all in one with all kinds of design art and behind the scenes stuff throughout the years. Great book. Transformers Beast Generations by Hobby Japan. It's a MOOK. They always have the little MOOK there. Very cool. I don't know how much this goes for now. So if you see a crazy price, what was the MSRP on this? What it was before. So this was originally 3,980 yen. So about $27 American. I don't expect you to find it for 27 American. If you could get it for 50, it's worth the investment to have everything in one. Nice little reference. Alex Milne swears by these books. Whenever he would do his art, he'd use them. Very good book. Those are really good ones, these ones. And I would also get, there was a really good one back in the day. Greg Gobb, the Cybertronia. I gotta find it in my wall of books. His is like if you want an English G1 reference book, His is probably the best, and I'll tell you why it's better than all the others because he tells you every piece, every part, he documents it. It's like, oh, if you got G1 Prowl, he has 4 chrome missiles. Here's the 4 chrome missiles. It came with a sprue. Oh, here's the variants. There's a Prowl that has like notches on the door, but this one doesn't have notches on the door. His is probably the most extensive out of any of them. But it's called the unofficial Cybertronia Transformers Guidebook, and he did a bunch of these throughout the years. It went all the way to Beast Wars, and they're a little tougher to come by, but they're really good. They're really, really good. Probably the best G1 reference books, in my opinion. But if you want something that just kind of like raw, shows all the figures all by the year and stuff, and you don't really care about understanding or reading it, then you get the Japanese ones. Those are pretty good too. Pretty, pretty good. Pretty, pretty good. Ugh. I would like it if they kept going with these. Like do like an Armada one. That'd be pretty cool. Because this again, it covers up to robots in disguise. See, like on the back there, you have this is everything it covers, all the way up to car robots, which is robots in disguise. You know, very cool. Uh, but yeah, that's it, more or less, of the book stuff. I like me some books. Where are we at? The Alvarez books, the problem with those is they're missing a lot of pretender stuff. Like there's a whole section, I have one of those, it's all the way at the bottom, but there's like a whole section of information that's missing. And I need an all in one. I need something that's an all in one perfect. So, books take space. You want to take the best ones. And the best ones, in my opinion, are those ones, if you could get them. Doesn't get more better than that. Doesn't get more better than that. Or the one that Brycey was going to make. That one was a shame. Brycey never got that book off the ground, but that would have been a good one too. You got Scarum, and he's a new favorite. Scarum's cool. Cool, cool chrome, the way that the shoulders go when you transform it, the little Energon spark being displayed. A lot of those, a lot of those Transmetal 2s people slept on. It's like it's the end of the line. It's like, oh, the Transmetal 2s don't have vehicle modes, so they're not as interesting. And some people saw it as kind of a regression. It's like, oh, we went from like cool designs that have a vehicle element to now like the vehicle element is gone and now it's all about chrome and an energon crystal. Like, how is that better than what we got before? So a lot of people like didn't receive them as well, you know. But they're still cool designs. I always felt Night Glider was cool. Some of those guys were really awesome. And what's his name? Optimus Minor. Optimus Minor is like crazy. Like you can make him do all kinds of cool wushu poses and stuff. Yeah. Yeah, Scarum is Aaron's Transmetal 2 Cheetor, Transmetal 2 Dinobot, obviously the Dragon Megatron, Optimal Optimus, which Aaron always says was like done in a day, kind of. They just sat in a meeting room and planned that one out. What was another one, Aaron, that you did? I think it was those ones. I think that's it. Was Ramulus part of that too? Maybe. Maybe Ramulus is part of that. But a lot of good stuff. A lot of good stuff. That's probably where Aaron got his foot wet. And Optimus Minor, I guess, and Optimus. I don't know. It's been so long. Optimus Minor is a good one though. I love that one just because like that one doesn't really have an alt mode. It has a suggestion of an alt mode. It has a suggestion of a robot mode. It really is very the differences between them is debatable, but you can't argue the crazy You can make him like do like crazy poses just the way because his hands are. There's like almost like an articulation, kind of cool. So it's kind of a shame that he got like a mild variant in Transmetal 2, and then that was it. Never got a single use ever again. Ever again. Why? He was also a shelf warmer. You know, he also didn't do very well, which is a shame because it was pretty clear what they were trying to do. You know, like, how do we have an Optimus that is in an affordable price point, right? So it's not Optimus Primal, the full big gorilla. But why don't we make a small monkey and we'll call it Optimus Minor, and it could kind of be its own little thing, you know? And then people could, you know, be able to affordably own an Optimus character at the regular price point of, like, at the time, which was $5. So, you know, because anyone who was collecting Transformers back then, you got that one figure and that was it. If Optimus Primal's Gorilla Mode was the Ultra class, it was that one figure and that was it. There was no like, oh, we're gonna do it Ultra class, Mega class, Deluxe class, and regular scale. You know, that was really they really started doing that like consistently after Cybertron. You had Cybertron, they created that legend scale. Like every price point could be a legend scale, it didn't matter. And then afterwards, you know, end of 2006 going into 2007 with the Michael Bay movies, every character could be every price point, it doesn't matter. You know, Blackout could be the at the time could be a mega scale, could be a fast action battler, could be a legend scale, could be a deluxe class, could be a bump and battler. No, there wasn't a bump and battler Blackout, but you know what I mean. You know, like it could be whatever it needs to be. Yeah, you had like the four arm mode, Ninjatron. Everything was subjective with that character, you know? It's like, does the faces, when his face opens up to reveal the robot mode, could those pieces that make the faces be interpreted as like jet boosters? You know, like how Optimus Primal has like a jet pack? Like, did you like put it behind there and pretend they were jet boosters? It's a very interesting design. Very, very interesting design. I have a soft spot for that figure only because, you know, with the sword weapon, it's a nice fiddly little figure that has charm. And I can't hate on something that's like $5. You know what I mean? Like if you spend like 34.99 and a figure is Garbo, I could understand you not being happy about that. But when it's like a $5 figure, it's like, you know, it's a $5 figure that had chrome, it had a weapon, it had a whole bunch of stuff. Where today you buy a 12.99 regular scale, like let's just grab randomly one. Here's one that's gonna go to T-Former soon. You know, 12.99, no weapon, no articulation, no chrome. How far we've fallen, you know? How far we have fallen, you know? So that's why I can't, you know, and I like those Cyber World toys. Don't get me wrong, but that's why I can't hate on Optimus Minor. All these years later, you look at like how great those figures were back then, and how much you got for $5. So very cool, very cool. And we have 4 minutes left. We have 4 minutes left in the live stream. So how again? Hope you guys had a good free comic book day. Hope you guys got a lot of cool stuff. I got a lot of cool stuff. We all got a lot of cool stuff. How did we do? Hmm. Oh, and I lost. And I still lost. This is cool though. I dig that. It's like a little pachinko machine mixed with like crane machine mixed with slot machine. Sell it to kids. Get them to gamble now. Tom Laney, what figure did you get that you really wanted, but once you got it was a huge nope? I 100% Tom Laney, Mega Class Beast Machines Cheetor. So I see Cheetor in the show, Beast Machines, and I'm like, oh, he's so cool. He's like, he's kind of the leader now. He's got like this much more like, you know, bigger adult body. He's got the swords. Oh, his figure is going to be amazing because Cheetor's original toy was pretty good. You know, his Transmetal toy was pretty good. I liked his Transmetal too. It held the gun. You know, that kind of was cool and had the proportions and everything. This one is going to be so awesome. And it was a piece of crap. It came with that stupid tail sword that did not represent how it looked in the show. It couldn't stand to save its life. It didn't look anything like he did in the show in terms of the sculpt and the face design and the animation model. And maybe it's just me, transforming it, that whole like how the way his head goes into his chest and it has to like go on this like rail system to get to the other end. I think it was a nightmare. So I was really disappointed with that one. Really, really, really disappointed. Outside of that Cheetor, there's not much else that I really was like, oh, that's a shame. You know, like that's a real shame. Just that Cheetor. I remember like I was so excited about that one, and it ended up not being good. And then when they did like the Night Slash Cheetor, which was the black at the time, it was the black repaint, and then they did more proper show colors later. Man, talk about such an improvement. That should have been the figure from day one, you know. But that's hindsight. That's hindsight. But that's definitely one that you know, not was a fan. Was not a fan of that. That was like a day one purchase. That thing hit Zellers. I picked that up. I was so excited. Super disappointed. Even the Supreme Cheetor. I didn't hate on the Supreme Cheetor as much. Why? Because at that time, what were the biggest Transformers? Fort Max, Scorponok, Supreme Cheetor. So Supreme Cheetor was kind of cool. Supreme Cheetor had the face sculpt that at least was animation accurate. It had lights and sounds. It had shooting missiles. It was a big Transformer. So even if it couldn't stand, even if it was kind of wonky, it still was like a big Transformer product at a time where stuff like that didn't come around very often. So you kind of like had respect for that one. But that Mega Class one, man, Beast Machines in general, a lot of those toys were kind of hit or miss. I mean, still to this day, I think one of the worst Transformer toys ever made from every standpoint. I give it to Night Scream. Ultra class, so expensive, out of scale of every figure, doesn't make any sense. He doesn't scale with anybody. He's like he's like Devastator size compared to all your other Beast Machines toys. Then suffers from clear plastic degradation. Every single Night Scream today will break in its clear orange plastic. It'll break. It's done. So it breaks years later. And maybe it's not fair to include it, but also a crappy character. So you have out of scale, kind of expensive, not really, a good figure in terms of like fragility. It breaks over time. And it's a crappy character. Go buy the McDonald's version. That's like this. Because it's like this. Get the McDonald's Night Scream. That's your best Night Scream toy. There you go. Until we get like a perfect one. But there was some good stuff. I agree. You had the deployers; those were fun. I loved any of the Viacons. Mirage was great. Scavenger was fun. Jetstorm was fun. Even some of the other, like non-show versions of characters. Those were all great. Those were all great. Optimus Primal with his translucent blue plastic and his green brain. He had a green brain. What a weird, weird line. No surprise, that one was probably one of the very low points for Transformers. They lost a lot of money during that time. But yeah, my friends, we are done for tonight. Transformer Slag podcast is done for tonight. We're at the 2 hour mark. We had a great time talking about the robots, talking about the books we picked up. Thank you for all the love and support for everyone that picked up the Mega Man book and enjoyed it. A lot more of that to come. Next tentpole event on the schedule, not counting going to Japan, because you won't see me in Japan. I will be there, but you guys probably won't be there. But the next tentpole event will be probably TFCon Toronto. I'll have Mega Man books there, a whole bunch of stuff also. Then we have San Diego Comic Con. I will be at that one. Then we have Otakuthon Montreal. I will be at that one too. That's the second largest anime convention in North America. I'll have a booth there. Um, geez, what else? A lot of other stuff going on. But yeah, so stay tuned for all of that, my friends. We are done for the night. Thank you for all the love and support. Hope you had a great free comic book day. Hope you picked up some cool stuff. And I hope you have fun with your friends and your families and your loved ones. Take care of yourself. Have a great life. enjoy all the cool stuff in life. I am playing Pokemon Arceus for the Nintendo Switch, and I have been having a good time trying to catch me a Gengar. I caught a Ghastly, and then I'm gonna level it up into a Haunter, and then I have to use the link cable key to then turn it into a Gengar. So I've been working on that. Real fun game. I haven't played. This is my first time playing a 3D Pokemon game, if you don't count Pokemon Go. So a lot of good stuff there. But yeah, thanks all for all the love and support, guys. Have a good time tonight with your family and everything. The world is an awesome place. We got a lot of awesome people in our community. And keep on rocking with the robots in disguise. Take care of yourself. And as always, and thank you from the Philippines and Manila, take care. And as always, roll out.